Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back, everybody. We are going to learn a lot today about nutrition. We started our journey last week. This is part 2 with somebody who is a certified nutritional counselor, master herbalist. She's a certified body talk trainer and practitioner, a doctor of naturopathy. But we're going to go very deep today and answer those questions that you've never asked but always wondered about when it comes to our body, nutrition in general, what we should be eating, how we should be eating it. Lots we're going to learn here. I peeked at her notes and I'm like, whoa, I didn't know half of this stuff. And she's back with us, Dr. Jackie Thomas Ali. You're on the program. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantabulous. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm excited to learn more about this. And this started last week. I asked you a question about protein, and you were like, hold on a minute. We're not getting into that. We were talking about different nutritional type items. Now we're going to get into the, no pun intended, meat and potatoes. So where do we begin?
All right. Yes. Okay. So first, I would like to have you as well as listeners understand that our body is a large percentage of water, and what parts and the percentage of the parts and why it's so important for us to drink water. Our brain is about 90% water. And the blood is about 83% water. Muscles, 75% water. And bones, even though they are kind of hard, they still have a percentage of water, and it's 22%.
Wow.
So it's really important that we consume water as much as we can. And I'll go more into that very shortly.
Well, that makes sense, Dr. Jackie, why when we are dehydrated, don't have enough water, what do you get? A headache. It's the first thing, usually.
Exactly. And one thing that to this day, I still don't know why. I've asked the question, even during my training, as to why when our body wants water, we get the hunger sensation. And when we get the thirst sensation, we're at the point where our body has really reached a point of close to dehydration where it really needs water. And I'm like, well, why can't the body tell us in another way? And no one can tell me that. So what I've learned and made the adjustments for myself is that when I feel the urge, when I'm feeling hungry, first thing I do is I drink some water. So that this way, in the event that it is water, the water will satisfy it. If it's not, then the hunger will return, and I'll know that it's time to eat.
Well, that's a great idea, because you're not doing any harm. You're actually doing a justice to yourself by drinking water when you feel like you're hungry, because many of us don't want to eat as much as we do, and that will take up some space in your stomach, and you'll feel fuller anyway.
Exactly. Okay. Now, there are certain organs that are a part of digestion. People always know about the stomach because of the digestive enzymes that it produces to break down and digest the foods. However, there are other organs. There are 3 other organs that are a part of digestion. That's the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. And they are as a part of the team to get the nutrients from the foods to the parts of our body. So hunger is really, and it's when it's truly hunger, is the body's way of saying, I need some nutrients. And it's a matter of giving the body the nutrients so that the stomach can break it down and send those nutrients to the liver, gallbladder, pancreas, which can then distribute to the rest of the body.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, we're used to eating foods together based on what tastes good together. And that's all well and good. But our stomach does not produce digestive enzymes that is just of one type. It produces digestive enzymes based on whether we're eating vegetables, meat proteins, or grains. And it's a matter of being able to have those come together and make it compatible so that the person is getting full digestion and not indigestion that many times people get when they don't combine them properly. So, for example, vegetables and proteins, whether the protein is meat, fish, chicken, or beans, they are very compatible. The enzymes that break down vegetables is compatible with the enzymes that break down protein. And then the vegetables that can combine. Okay, wait a minute. Let me back up here. Vegetables can also be combined with grains, such as rice, oats, those things. So they go well together. But when you put them all together, vegetables, proteins, and grains, it's having digestive enzymes that aren't cooperating with each other because they're on a different mission, a different assignment, and that's where the indigestion comes about.
I've heard this too, and I can't remember it exactly, not even close, but one of the staples of the American diet is meat and potatoes, but you really, according to what I've heard, aren't really supposed to have meat and potatoes for some of the reasons that you identify. Didn't know about the proteins and the grain connection, how that could be a conflict. And how many times, even like Chinese food, you'll have, pepper steak and rice, fried rice,
exactly. So it's really truly, when we're looking at historically meat and potatoes, it was at a time when it was about survival.
Yes.
And so you ate what you could eat for survival. Fortunately, in these days and times, that's not as prominent or such a focus here in this country. I'm not saying in some communities there isn't a focus or a challenge with it, but not as it has been, and things have improved over time. So it's a matter of knowing that certain things don't go together. If you're ordering fast food, that's fine. But say, I want this with that, or I want this, but I don't want that. So if, as you mentioned about Chinese food, if a person is going to order Chinese food or any type of takeout, it's really best that they don't have the meat and the rice. And it's okay for them, for a person to say, I don't want any meat, or if they do want the meat, that it's the meat and the vegetables.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then combine it that way. So there's a certain amount of time that the body needs in order to digest and have the foods go through the system, not just the foods, but the liquids as well. It takes about 15 minutes for water, once we drink it, to really disperse throughout the body where it's needed. Juices, it takes anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. fruit, which I encourage people to really start their day off with fruit, because the body is really in a position more of digesting it, and then later on adding the other proteins and veggies and things.
Funny you should say that.
Yes.
Yesterday, I made myself a smoothie with fresh strawberries, bananas, not a lot, just half a banana, blueberries, protein powder, almond milk, a little bit of ice. I forgot how good it is. And so I got protein. I got the antioxidant properties of the fruit, got the fiber as well.
Yes.
And you could add, if you want to add a little bit of fat to that. Fat is, is good for you depending on the kind. Put a little peanut butter in there too.
All right, go ahead.
I'm having that tomorrow. I forgot how good it is and good for you.
Okay. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because fruits take anywhere from about 30 to 60 minutes, say from a half an hour to an hour, to really digest and go through the system. That's why when you have that smoothie, you're not that hungry for a bit, because the body is really utilizing it. And then most vegetables take anywhere from 1 to 2 hours to digest, and meats and fish take anywhere from 3 to 4 hours to digest. And it's recommended that a person not have a meal at least 2 hours before going to bed. So if their bedtime is at 10 o'clock, their last meal should be 8 o'clock. And this way it will allow the body time to digest it. And then while they're sleeping, the energy of digestion is really being used to rebuild the cells, because that's when the body does the repair work at night when we're sleeping. And if the energy is used to digest, then it's like, how can we repair and digest at the same time? It's a bit challenging.
Thinking about having, let's say, a steak, which I've cut back on red meat substantially, but I still like a good steak every couple of weeks, whatever. How you feel so weighed down after. And that makes sense, because your body's taking a long time to process and digest. But on the flip side, water, refreshing to know it gets into your system, as you said, in about 15 minutes. So if you are dehydrated, you can expect to see the benefits of drinking some water in a very short amount of time, which is
exactly. Exactly. And one thing that I've learned through the years of focusing and helping people with nutrition is that I give them the information, and I don't say, don't eat meat, don't do this, don't do that. I just say, here's the information. You make the decision as to what you want to put together to get the best nutrients, the best digestion.
Well, a lot of this, too, is just a reminder. Does it mean that I or everybody else will never have meat again with rice? Never, ever. No, it's probably going to happen. You're at a buffet, you're at a wedding party, whatever. But we shall be more mindful of it. And
absolutely.
Same thing with the fruit in the morning. I forgot how wonderful it is and was. I'm not even kidding you. I'm having that tomorrow.
Yes.
And especially because I don't want my strawberries going bad before I get to finish them off. So it's happening. This is great. How about some other stuff that we should be mindful of?
Okay. Also, there's a lot of info about, or a lot of, I don't know if I should say info, but there's a lot when you go into a store, displays involving organics and non-organics. And it really involves the herbicides and the chemicals, the synthetic pesticides, and so forth. There are laws here in the United States that govern pesticides as to how much should not, in order for a produce to be declared organic or non-organic. So if a person, one thing that I use as a website to help me with that information, because there's going to be times when I'm not going to memorize it. The website is called Environmental Working Group, or ewg.org. O-R-G, and they have a list of what they call the Dirty Dozen, and the Dirty Dozen are those produce that need to be organic. And then they have, and there's a dozen, they call them the Dirty Dozen for a reason. And then they have the Clean 15, which focuses on produce that doesn't necessarily have to be organic. And the organic produce must be produce that's grown here in the United States and not shipped in from other countries, because there are countries that use the tag organic because they understand that there are people who want to use organic and eat organic, but they're not grown in the United States, so therefore they're not under the same jurisdiction. So it's a matter of knowing organics need to be grown here in the United States.
Once again, need to read the label, because you could pick up the carton container of strawberries and it says organic, certified organic, but then you look at it and see it's from South America. They don't adhere to the same standards.
Exactly.
And the Clean Dozen, if I remember correctly, those are things like bananas.
Yes.
Right? Where you don't have to get organic bananas because they have a casing on them. The peel. Yeah. Which protects them essentially from any pesticides and things like that.
Right, exactly. So rather than guessing, I just go to the website, and I've learned to know that there's certain things that I enjoy eating, and they're going to be organic or non-organic. And that's the name again of the website is Environmental Working Group, and their site is ewg.org.
Gotcha.
Okay. Oh, one last thing. And a lot of people now, in depending upon where they live, are involved with sustainable farming, whether they have their own small backyard growing, or they have much larger land and are able to do some sustainable farming and are able to adhere to the same criteria.
I'm going to, from myself personally, and maybe for others, set the intention to visit a farm stand, visit a local farmer, have a conversation with them. Yes. You know, if you're living in the city, then maybe that's more of a challenge. But quite honestly, I could travel for 20 minutes and I hit a farm from where I am, maybe even less. But just support your local farmers, but at the same time, you'll know what you're getting. But you can even talk to them.
Yes. Yes.
Have a relationship with them. You're eating their food.
Yes. And if they are certified organic, know for a fact. In fact, I had a friend of mine who had a farm. In fact, he still does in New Jersey. That when that farm is not just certified, they have representatives coming from the Department of Agriculture just show up at their yard, take a sample of the soil, and test it. So it's sustainable. Yes.
The way, the way it should be. And unfortunately, our government doesn't really, in my opinion, crack down as much as they could or should. Here's an example. You go to the UK, I think I might have shared this, it blew my mind. It's 3 ingredients in your French fries. If you're going to do fast food, here it's like 17, and that's okay.
Yes.
Pet food. You have no idea what you're feeding your pet when you buy a bag of stuff in the store. I do the same thing. Don't have time to cook for my pets. Don't have time to cook for myself. But it's not regulated. So you have no idea what you're feeding them. But just
Exactly.
an example of the U.S. government and the guidelines on it. So you got to really be your own advocate.
You really truly do. You really truly do, and do your own homework and look things up and if especially if partnering with sustainable farming, a sustainable farmer, and yes, that is awesome. Awesome.
Any other thoughts that you have when it comes
That's
to nutrition part 2 here?
that's pretty much it. That it really boils down to we get to choose ourselves what we put into our body. And yes, there's that part, that human part that wants a certain taste. But by the time it leaves the mouth and it goes to the body, to the stomach,
Yep.
it's a matter of here's the fuel to replenish, rebuild, and so forth.
And like they say, you are what you eat.
Yes.
You really are.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been finding.
And don't look for fast food so much to be.
It's not real food. Let's be honest. Maybe it's like 20% food. The rest of it's concocted and
chemicals. And
chemicals.
Stuff.
Yeah. I even find too that when I have things that are sweet and sugar, now I try to eat a little bit cleaner lately, not very, but a little bit. And then
Yes.
I'll throw in a cookie or two, whatever it might be, and I can feel it. I don't
Yes.
feel so great.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think
and it's like, ooh, yes. Yes.
Maybe it's the inflammation. They say that sugar causes inflammation. Maybe that's what's going on. I just don't feel right. And
Well,
I think that's it.
it's interesting you mentioned that because through my own self-healing practice and so forth, and working with others, especially when I was studying to be a naturopath and then studying body talk, I found out that I am gluten sensitive.
Wow.
And that I cannot eat gluten. So that eliminates anything that's wheat, rye, barley. And even though there are many products now that are labeled gluten-free, I still read the labels to see what's in it.
Yep. Yeah. You have to, again, back to being your own advocate. You really need to. Final thought here on nutrition. Mm-hmm. So I thought, you know what? I like breakfast sandwiches. I'll make my own. I'll get buy some patties, add some egg to it, maybe some pepper jack cheese, put it on an English muffin as a treat, toast it up there. So I see this package in the store, and it's in a green package. Labeling look like it comes from farms. It's called Morningstar Farms. Morningstar Farms.
Oh, yes, I'm familiar.
So I'm like, oh, this would be great. All right. And granted, it's a meatless patty. So what do they have to do to make it taste like meat? But anyway, I figured it comes from a farm. It's got to be better for you. I look at the label and I'm reading it. And I'm like, it's some company that starts with a K. I don't even know what they are. And then I Googled it. It's a subsidiary of Kellogg's. So it's like, like eating breakfast cereal, it's
yes.
It's clever though, because it had the green packaging, thought it came, more sustainable, if you will, coming from a farm, not so much. So you got to read it.
You really do, because here in this country, it's about business.
Yes, it is.
It's about business.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are fantastic in helping and supporting us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Healthier way of life. Best way to find you. What's your website?
earthlyessence.life. LIFE. earthlyessence.life.
And this is just the nutritional part of it. You are certified, just a part of what you offer, but certainly you gave examples of body talk and how to listen to your body and how it will tell you what it needs and also doesn't need, and certainly herbals.
Yes, yeah.
There's a reason they've been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years, because they were. It is medicine. And
it's plants.
It's
vegetables
plants.
are plants.
Yep. Exactly.
Herbs
You know
or
what?
plants.
So what was it? Socrates said that food is medicine. When you think of it that way, whoa,
And our medicine is our food.
it's scary.
Yeah.
What's out there and what we're eating.
All right.
Thank you so much for today, Dr. Jackie. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steve. I enjoyed being with you. And until next time.
Eat your vegetables. My fruit for breakfast. All right, we'll catch up soon. We'll be right back.
All righty.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.